So, I've been talking about poetry a little bit in these last few videos. Like, I've been reading my poems and stuff because I really want to get back to writing poetry. It's like I was always writing poetry and stuff, but it almost seems like I've been uninspired. Like, I wrote everything that I could write for it, but now I just have, like, I don't know, the want to try to write some poetry again. But, I always try to take from my own life experiences and stuff. I write fun poetry here and there, like limericks and little things, but I really do like the ones that are very expressive and talk about either my experiences, my beliefs, my wants, hopes, stuff like that, because it's like the stuff that I like to read about and hear about. But I've just felt kind of stuck with regular poetry and everything. And so I've been doing some research and stuff. Like, I really want to try to write longer poetry, like a longer formatted poetry, like a sonnet or something, or a narrative poem. I would love to be able to write one of those. I think I would probably be able to do a narrative poem before a sonnet because it's hard to remember the rules for those things when you're writing them. But I would like to try to write at least one, if I could. Yeah, I would like to write maybe like a regular narrative poem, or even a ballad, or even a lyrical poem. Something that one day could be possibly set to music. I think that would be cool. Because I love music too. I'm very much a lyrics person, and lyrics combined with good music is a definite plus for me. But yeah, I just been thinking about my next poetry book a lot more lately. And I was debating if I wanted to put any stories in there, but I don't think so. I think I wanted to stay within poetry. Now, there is something that is technically called prose poetry, which is kind of, on the line between like regular prose, obviously, and poetry and stuff like that. So whether you would consider it just a regular story with a poetic format, or poetry with a storytelling format, but I think I really just want to stick to this book being just poetry. Because I kind of wanted to keep the poetry and short stories separate, but I don't know. I want to at least do a narrative poem, because a narrative poem is written as a poem. It has a poetry structure, but tells a story, right? And, I'm not an expert on one poet or the other, right? Like, there's a lot of poetry that I like, both old and new, just randomly, right? I mean, there are some that I've heard something from them, and I've gone back and checked out their other stuff, but I'm not like an expert. I know some people like know a poet's entire work and stuff, and I just don't. One day I'll get through like a complete work of an author. There's just so much stuff out there that I'm trying to read, and stuff that I love that I've reread because I like those stories and stuff. But one of my favorite poems, for example, that probably everybody knows at this point, is The Raven. And I just think it's beautifully written. Um, it's dark, it's emotional, and it tells an interesting story. Sad story, but an interesting one. Um, and, I think you can have different perspectives on it and everything. Like, obviously, you know what it's about, but, it'll affect people in, like, different ways and stuff. That's kind of like what I want my poetry to be, right? I want it to be something that people have discussions about, that people give their interpretations of, but are still interested in mine and why I wrote it and everything. So, yeah, I think I'm gonna take my time on this one, because I'm gonna be writing my fantasy story in November, but I definitely want to get back to writing poetry. Um, we'll see how long it takes me and everything, because I want the book to be a good amount of pages and words and stuff that's worth people wanting to, you know, buy and everything, or at least read. So much writing, so little time. Anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. Bye bye.